What's up guys, Omar here, broker and CEO of Alden Mortgage and Ome Realty. So this is going to be your mortgage rate update. We're also going to be taking a closer look at the 10 cities that are taking the biggest hit in real estate. As everybody knows, it's just everything is going on the downturn tick. Also, the cancellation rate that new home builders are having, like all these new developers, the new home like KB Homes, Lennar Homes, and all of these, the cancellation rate has taken such a huge increase. We're going to talk about how much that's actually been. And then the last one is the FBI has officially put out a warning for renters and real estate people for scams. Now we're going to talk about what these scams are, how they happen, and exactly the details on that. But let's go ahead and get on with the mortgage rate update. We're going to be pricing out 10 different mortgaging products, so we're just going to get through this really fast so we can get on with the rest of this. So a 30-year fix will be sitting at 4.87%. 15-year fix will be sitting at 3.87%. Now this is all loans as of 7/13/2022. 30-year jumbo will be sitting at 5.35%. Debt service covered ratio, which is known as a DSCR loan for short, is a debt service covered ratio for investment type loans where it doesn't qualify you based off of you. It qualifies you based off of the property and the rental income that's coming in, which is the debt. The debt is going to be the mortgage. The service is going to be the rental income coming in. And if it covers it through a ratio at least one above, we'll be sitting at 7.85%. Bank statement loan, where we just qualify you based off of the income that you have into your bank statements, will be sitting at 7.5%. FHA 30-year fixed will be sitting at 4.11%. 7/6 adjustable rate mortgage will be sitting at 4.73%. USDA 30-year fixed, which is a zero down payment program that we have, that'll be sitting at 4.15%. VA 30-year fixed is another zero down payment program for veterans. It will be sitting at 4.85%, and then the hard money fix and flips will be sitting at 9.25%. Now, as everybody knows, this is not a song and dance anymore. The cat's out of the bag. Real estate is taking a big hit. Everybody knows it. Mortgage companies are laying people off left and right. Real estate companies are laying off people left and right. Everybody's kind of in limbo right now, kind of holding off to, because the most common sense thing to do right now in the world of real estate is for people to just kind of say, hey, you know what? Let me pump the brakes. Everything went completely nuts and sideways just 2 years ago. So let's see what it's going to pan out for the next year, especially because the feds are going to do another rate hike here at the end of this month. I believe it's on the 27th. The 27th. So everybody saw the debacle that was last month when we had the interest rate hike. Now it's going to be another one that's going to be coming up. Now, where is that going to be? Like I said before, I just don't understand why they just don't get it over with. If they went ahead and did a 125 basis points this last month, we wouldn't have to worry about it now. Now, what happened is before, when the feds hit us with the interest rate, the market in itself pre-primed itself, right? So that's why you're kind of seeing interest rates took a big hike right at the very moment, and then it's kind of dwindling down. Now it's going to prep itself. It's going to prime itself a week before that next Fed rate hike comes in. And then it's going to go ahead and go up. But builders are taking cautious. They're being very cautious, throwing caution to the wind. Now at 14.5%, which is massive, it is huge. Home builders are canceling the amount that they're actually building on these new developments. Whether you have your Lennar, your KB Homes, your Toll Brothers, these big major builders, Pulte Homes, there's a bunch of them. They're all kind of just, they're saying, you know what? We have to pump the brakes because we're not sure. Because what's happening is, especially when people are buying in these new builds, it takes between 6 to 8 months for it to go ahead and get built. So what you do is you go ahead and put a deposit down on the home to, and contingent to go ahead and wait for it to be built. You get pre-approved. Well, if I pre-approve you today, that doesn't mean that the pre-approval will stay the same in 6 to 8 months. Same as if you bought it in January. In January versus if you were in conclusion to be built, right? It was concluded. The project was going to be completed today. You could be in that limbo part where you do not qualify anymore. That's why builders are now kind of pumping the brakes, especially in these high, home price areas like Los Angeles, where I'm from, or San Diego, or California, or a lot of people have been moving to Texas. Texas has been the biggest one. Texas has actually taken the biggest hit out of all of them. They have more cancellations than any state out there. So they're actually, taking complete Texas, man. It's hot. It's hot. But the 10 cities that took the biggest hit, well, of course, like I said, California, my state, My beloved state is taking the biggest hit, but that's because we're just completely nuts on everything. San Jose, California is at about 1.56 million. Now I know these numbers to a lot of you are going to sound a little nuts, but remember, there's nothing in California that makes sense except that nothing makes sense. That's it. Just remember that when I rattle off these numbers. So San Jose, now has a median price of 1.56. Sacramento has a median price of 610,000. Oakland, California at 1.07. Seattle, Washington is at 850,000. Seattle, Washington. I don't know anybody really wanted to go to Seattle, Washington. Isn't it depressing and cold there? Whatever. Stockton, California, median price at 576,000. Boise, Idaho, which was one of those cities that were like had the highest rate of increase in home prices. Well, now they're on the list to go ahead and take a big dump on everything. Denver, Colorado's at 612,000. These are a little shocking though. I didn't know Denver, Colorado's real estate prices were so high. Like, I feel like the average median price in Boise, Idaho and Denver, Colorado should be somewhere in the twos. But then in the same sense, like, what the hell is San Jose doing at a median price of 1.56? That's pretty stupid itself. That should be like 750 to 800,000, somewhere around there. San Diego is running at 875. Tacoma, Washington at 575,000. And then the one that's taking a hit, which has taken a hit, like, if there was a punching bag in the world of real estate, San Francisco would have been it. They have taken the biggest beating I've ever seen in my entire life. San Francisco at $1.62 million. And especially the reason why I say that is because when this whole pandemic thing hit, in San Francisco, real estate prices are so ridiculously high. Now, it's not even that real estate prices are so high. There's a lot of special assessment, Melrose, HOA that you have to pay. And the HOA in some of these, I sold this one condo, it was a penthouse, okay, in one of these big buildings. Just the HOA fee, regardless, nothing with the mortgage or anything like that. The HOA was $25,000 a month. $1,000 a month is like, oh yeah, we're getting a good deal. And that's not to include the other taxes that you have to pay because you do live in San Francisco. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, unless you are just balling out of the category that I am familiar with, then that's different. Well, the FBI actually just put out this whole entire bulletin, right? That says that, the spike in rental and real estate scams are increasing. Now, in the world of real estate, what we have is something that's called straw buyers, which I'll make another video why I think wholesalers should be banned and fined and nobody should be allowed to wholesale, and I'll get into another video on that. But we have something that's called straw buyers, where you are pretending to be one person for personal property. So it's like, property for fraud, or mortgage for fraud, or rent for fraud. You're trying to pretend like you're one person for another person. And then the second part of it is what's called a dine and dash. What's a dine and dash? So what you do is these people will go ahead and post apartments for incredible rate, right? Incredible. Like, it's like maybe like $500-600 less than anything else even comparable in the area. And what they'll do is they'll go ahead and rent out that place, but there's no place to rent out. So it's like, a bait and switch type of thing. So they'll say, what, yeah, we'll take first and last month's security deposit. People get so anxious. They're like, what, we need to get in. Oh my God, that's such a great deal. I could be saving myself so much money. And a lot of people don't even look at the property, or they'll just drive past it, and that's what they'll do. Or they'll make up this little song and dance like, oh, we cannot show you the property right now because, there's a tenant in there, but we could show you the outside. They'll go ahead and show you the outside. They'll go ahead and send you a lease agreement. They'll go ahead and ask you to give them a cashier's check for the first and last month, contingent on their move-in date on the 1st. So they'll be like, okay, you know what, it's the 30th today. We're going to need your security deposit, your first and last month, and then you're going to be moving in on the 1st. We're still working on the apartment. So you could go ahead and move in tomorrow, and then we could go ahead and sign the lease and everything like that. So everything seems, to the uneducated eye, like everything is good. But then what happens? You never hear from them again. They'll go ahead and cash that cashier's check, and then they'll go on to the next. They'll keep changing and changing and changing. And a lot of people, and especially in San Francisco, they've been doing this a lot to Chinese exchange students. Chinese exchange students would be coming on over here, and they'll post, homes for rent on these Chinese websites. And then these Chinese kids will be like, oh yeah, perfect, I'll go ahead and, rent an apartment before I even get there. They'll sign a lease agreement, all that other stuff. And then when they finally get here, there's no place. The person owning the house or whatever it is, the pictures that they took, they're like, what are you doing here? Just get out. So they're out, like, and they charge them like a crazy amount, like $5,000-$6,000 a month on something that's typically like $1,500 a month, because they don't know any better. They're just like, this is not something new to them. Until you get your feet wet, you just don't know. So the amount that the nationwide in 2022 or 2021, 11,578 people, and this is only reported, okay? So this does not have to do, how would we know the things that weren't reported? But reported losing $350 million. 328,166 due to these payment scams, which is a 64% increase. In Boston, Massachusetts, and Maine, and New Hampshire, and Rhode Island, those are small little cities, states that, these types of things, I'm assuming, I'm not from there, so I'm assuming that these types of things don't really happen there. I've lost, 489,000 over 42 victims. 290 victims in Massachusetts who's lost almost $9 million, and 41 victims in New Hampshire who lost somewhere in the neck of the woods of $2.5 million. So you got to be careful whenever you're dealing with stuff like that. I always recommend, if you are in the rental side of things, if you're going to do a rent, like a home rental, for somebody who owns it, and you're going through a landlord or something like that, make sure you, not only when they vet you vet them at the same time, or you go through a verified real estate company, or go to an actual property management company where they have a bunch of them. At least you'll be in the safe zone, and you don't have to worry about getting scammed up, because it happens all the time. Los Angeles, it's a really, really big thing. Where I'm from, Orange County, well, Orange County is a different story. Like, people have been renting those houses and then just going and taking weed grow houses, building them up, and then just ruining the whole entire property as a whole, because they really don't care. And so that's going to be your mortgage rate update. That's going to be everything that's going on in real estate right now. So for up to 50% commission rebate, 0% listing on selling your current home, or any mortgaging assistance, especially the ones that I went ahead and talked about, I'm your guy. Let me take care of it. Link in the description below. Until next video, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, comment, share it to somebody, because in these hard times, we know that mortgaging and saving a little bit of money on buying a house or anything of the sort, you need as much as you could possibly get. At least let me try to beat your big bank. If you have any loan estimate from any bank, let me try to beat it. Until next video, guys. Peace.